Welcome back, everybody. Have you ever heard of legacy property? Today we take a look at what that is and how it fits in with your estate planning.
Attorney Justin Randall joins us from Hooper Law Office. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, guys.
So what is legacy property?
So legacy property is a good way to think about it is things that you want to pass down, right? Things that you want to leave a legacy for the family. So often this takes the form of things like maybe a family cabin or a lake property, or I mean, it can be really anything, but it does generally take the form of some sort of real estate like that.
So is it okay to just include that in your will, or do you need to do something else?
So it often, with any legal answer, I suppose it depends. But generally speaking, especially when you're trying to leave it as a legacy for the whole family and you're trying to leave it to multiple people, it's generally better to do some additional planning on top of just putting something like that in your will or in a trust. Mostly because there's a lot of problems that can come up over time for the next generation if they don't have the right ownership structure.
So what types of things do we need to consider when we're planning for legacy property?
So one of the biggest things is how do you deal with disputes, for example, or like paying for bills. A lot of people don't think about this when they're passing this down to their kids, is they want it to keep the family together. But if people disagree on how to pay for expenses or usage of the property, and there's no structure in place to deal with that, that can be a huge problem for them. And it can, something that was meant to keep the family together can end up actually driving them apart. So you want to have some sort of entity, whether it's some sort of like business entity, or sometimes people will set up certain mechanisms in like a trust, for example, that says how those disputes have to be dealt with, how somebody can get out of ownership if they don't want to actually own the property anymore, things like that.
So how do you get everybody on the same page?
Well, as with a lot of these types of discussions, it comes down to getting everyone together and talking through these issues. I mean, first and foremost, you want to set up the right structure for the family to deal with those issues, but you also want to make sure that as someone passing on that property, that you have that discussion with the next generation and not only explain your intent behind leaving that to them, but also explain or talk through any potential issues or seeing if people actually even want the property. For example, if you know someone doesn't want it and is just going to want to sell their interest, that might be a reason to not necessarily leave that property to them, right?